Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is October 10th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see the sun rising across the lower 48 states and the marine layer bouncing up and down the coastline, a frontal system moving into northern California, and we've got Hurricane Lydia down here making its way towards the Mexico coastline. We'll check to see where any of that tropical moisture will move. Right now it looks like it's going to head off to the north and east and maybe out towards the Gulf of Mexico. If you look closely here, you see an interesting feature here of one of the islands off of Baja. We'll look at that in this slide here. Von Karman Vortex Street. Kind of interesting here looking at the GOES 18 satellite, some of these features you can see. And this is that process here, an animation of a vortex street. So interesting stuff. Google that if you want to learn more. Taking a look here at a National Weather Service Los Angeles issued yesterday. We've got some of these gusty northerly winds through Thursday morning, and these are going to turn even northeasterly. A little bit of Santa Ana winds here, at least briefly, with gusts of 50 miles per hour. But Montecito Hills, look at this. You could be gusting up towards 60 miles per hour. Take caution out there. And this is generally just west of Santa Barbara there across some of the higher terrain. This is issued yesterday evening there from National Weather Service Los Angeles, and strong wind gusts in the Kern County desert here, gust of 55 miles per hour, especially across the higher terrain out there. So heads up for that. October 10th, this is issued here from the National Weather Service Hanford. You got the wind advisories out here. You can see Santa Barbara is here. There's Los Angeles. Does not include Santa Barbara here, but it does include the higher hills around the Santa Ynez Mountains out there. And we've got some high surf advisories for the coastal areas as well. And we'll look at that in a moment with the weather map here. This is the large breaking wave of 8 to 11 feet here with the dangerous rip currents here. This is from 3 p.m. Wednesday to 3 p.m. Thursday. You've got the rip currents out there and increased risk for ocean drowning. Heads up for that. We're going to really pick up some of the wave action along the coastline, and I'll show you that here now. This is looking about as I'm speaking right now, and you can see this increase in the wave action moving down the coastline as we go through Wednesday afternoon all the way through Thursday afternoon. Well, this is this day in SoCal weather history, October 10th, 1986. Check it out, a closed low over the area, bringing some nice rainfall, even some marble-sized hail out there, and lightning caused numerous power outages in 1996. We had some pretty warm temperatures across the area. You can see the wide variation here in some of the weather we can get here across much of the Southwest this month. It is October. You can get Santa Ana winds. You can get upper-level lows. You get tropical storm remnants over the area. So fun stuff here can be had across much of the Southwest at this time of year. Check it out. Temperatures trending down across my Arizona. Look at Yuma dropping down in the 80s. Imperial, Phoenix getting down towards 90. Some blustery winds out there too as well. Might make it feel quite nice actually, relatively speaking, here across a lot of Arizona. This is Las Vegas. Check it out. Some gusty winds. Look at Barstow. 29 Palms gusting up over 50 miles per hour. Death Valley up to 35 if you can even get out there to the park. I know there's a lot of road damage from Tropical Storm Hillary dropping record rainfall amounts out there. Freeze watch, National Weather Service Reno. Check it out. I'll show you the map here next, but you can see there's some sub-freezing temperatures coming in here. It's cooler air moving over the area, and here we are looking at that freeze watch here. You can see Reno would be there in the state of California over here. So there is some chilly temperatures coming overnight. Now, this is looking at GFS 06Z. You can see the system swinging through Northern California. There goes Hurricane Lydia towards the coastline here. Then we're going to build a little bit of a ridge and kick some Santa Ana winds, some offshore northeast winds, warm things up a little bit across the area. And we've got another system trying to roll in through Northern California here as we go towards the end of the week. And then if we scroll off into the extended, it looks like we might try to bounce back a little bit here. Got some ridging showing up in the forecast, but some of these systems may be clipping Northern California, and we're looking kind of far out, 150 hours plus in the forecast. So we'll watch that and break that down day by day. Here's 100-meter wind speeds on last night's European run. Watch the winds pick up down the coastline here across the higher terrain desert areas. And the Santa Ynez Mountains out there getting some nice gusts by the time you go towards Wednesday evening. And then we turn these winds, we turn them offshore here for a bit. Some Santa Ana winds going. And then as we go on in through Friday, you'll notice we start to swing those back onshore. So kind of a short-lived event there as another decaying frontal system makes its way towards Northern California. Now, this is looking at the HER 3KM. This is accumulated max 10-meter wind gusts. This is Southern California. You can see Los Angeles, San Diego would be here, Catalina Island, Santa Barbara's over here. We put this into motion. Look at some of these gusts coming down. Montecito Hills. Again, there could be some gusts up over 50 miles per hour locally in there. And of course, across the higher terrain, the desert areas, winds gusting up over 50, some areas even 60 plus out there. So heads up if you are traveling across the higher terrain and out towards the deserts here, or if you're across some of the higher terrain here all the way towards the Santa Ynez Mountains, transverse ranges. could be getting some of that action here as well. Now, looking at the composite reflectivity, you can see that frontal system. It's not exceptionally strong, but it is bringing some precipitation in Northern California as we go through the day today and tonight. And then that system swings through. We're going to bring some high pressure over the interior and start those offshore winds, at least for a brief period of time. And then another system will start approaching Northern California. Now, this is looking at the NAM 3 cam mean sea level pressure. This kind of gives you a nice idea of why those Santa Ana winds are going to kick up, at least for a brief time. You can see that higher pressure filling in over Nevada here, and that's what's going to kick those northeast winds across the area. You get the higher pressure over the Great Basin, you get the compression winds moving out towards the coastline there. That is the Santa Ana winds, and it tends to, increase in speed as it moves through the canyons and the gaps in the terrain out towards the coast. Now we're looking at temperatures. Los Angeles, LAX, towards the coastline. You can see average temperatures all the way through about October 18th showing up here. Average high for this time of year, about 77 degrees. And there is a signal for some warm up here happening towards the end of October, but nothing we're going to get too concerned about just yet. You can see just slightly above average for that period. This is San Francisco, hanging around average, about the same thing here as well. And looking at San Jose the last couple of days, check it out. On the 7th, we were at 94. We've dropped almost 20 degrees here as of yesterday, 75 degrees. Nice cool down, but a pretty nice warm spell there the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we dropped about 10 degrees between the 7th and the 8th for San Jose. This is San Francisco. Check it out. You had the 4 straight days of 90 plus, then the big drop down on the 8th, and not too bad yesterday, 74 degrees. Nice and comfortable out there. Looking at Fresno, California, you can see bubbling around average here all the way through October 18th, and a little bit of a sign of that warm up as we go through the end of the month, but nothing to worry about just yet. We'll watch that as we go day by day. San Jose hovering around average as well. Palm Springs, you can see even a little below average. Average temperature this time of year, right around 89, slowly trailing off. And by the time you get to October 25th, it's about 86 degrees for the average high out there for Palm Springs, California. San Diego on the coastline there as well, kind of hanging around average, nothing too extreme. Average temperatures here right around 73 degrees and kind of hanging on. Not much of a decline there as you go through October for San Diego. Hurricane Lydia. So heads up if you have some concerns or you're flying down to some of the resorts there in Mexico. Just hopefully you guys know, if you've been watching this channel, there is a hurricane out there, and the hurricane warnings are up in the red there, and tropical storm warnings would be in the blue. Now, taking a look here, this is Hurricane Lydia down here. We're just making sure none of this remnant moisture is going to move towards the southeast. And this one looks like it's headed off to the east and the northeast out towards the Gulf of Mexico here. And then you can see we've got additional frontal systems trying to make their way into Northern California in that time frame. You can see kind of an interesting atmospheric river look here out over the Pacific Ocean as well. Models have been going back and forth, and just where this will set up, we'll watch it as we go and see if there's any chance of this hanging out a bit further and bringing big precipitation amounts to some of California here over the next 10 days or so. Now, looking at total precipitation in inches on the European, this is last night's run, and there goes the system going through the area today, and I'm hoping to wring a little bit out across the Bay Area. It's been like pulling teeth trying to get precipitation down into some of the central coastal range in the Bay Area over the last 3 months, and I've been showing that the last couple of days as well. We'll look at that again. But you can see not bad precipitation amounts coming through with that system here across northwest California. Now watch as we go off into the extended a little bit more here. We're going off towards the weekend. Now this is Friday night. Another system moves through here. And as we go through Sunday, this atmospheric river starts to get pointed at southwest Oregon. Could be including portions of California here. So we'll watch this over the next few days to see if this precipitation, these precipitation amounts are going to trend up or down here, because there's some pretty lofty totals showing for southwest Oregon and northwest California at that point. Now, taking a look at the European, this is last night's run here, and we're just going to go ahead and check out what the latest data says. You can see the system swinging through today, and this would be that next atmospheric river setting up shop out here. As you can see, the trough digging out across the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Alaska, pointing a nice fetch of moisture back into the west coast. So that's what we're going to be watching here over the next couple of days. 6 to 10 day precipitation kind of reflects that here from mainly the Bay Area north, but again, and cross your fingers here. Maybe we'll get some measurable precip down towards the Bay Area and some of the coastal range. No promises just yet. This goes through October 19th. And of course, the reservoirs still are doing quite nice across the state. I'd just like to show this one. Most areas above their historical average. This is a percent of average precipitation over the last 12 months, basically October 9th, 2022 to October 8th. And you can see Tropical Storm Hillary helped out a lot with this. And of course, we had the wet winter and the wet spring, except for maybe kind of southeast California there and extreme northwest California, which is getting pretty good precipitation here and probably going to get some more as we go through the weekend coming up. But now look at the last 3 months from July 11th. Check it out. Some of the Bay Area and some of the coastal ranges there and some portions of Northern California, pretty darn dry. As you can see where Tropical Storm Hillary tracked here, it did miss some of the coastal range and some of the Bay Area here. So hopefully we can start to get some systems down in there so we don't start to introduce some abnormally dry conditions or eventually drought conditions here over the next couple of months. So anyway, yeah, hope you guys are liking the new channel here. I'm getting a lot of subscribers coming on board, and with any luck, we'll get things up and running where we can get members to be able to sign up, and eventually things will get up and running here. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to hang out for the Pacific Northwest weather page too, sometimes I talk about Oregon, Northern California, Nevada, and that one also. I'll be talking about the eclipse weather. I might do a separate video on that today, and we'll just kind of go over the eclipse forecast as we do things here. I'm getting a lot of comments and some emails about what's going to be going on with the eclipse forecast, so I might just do a specific video on its own for that today. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.